Is this the kind of position you get stuck at? You followed the opening principles and you're trying to navigate the early middle game, but you're left asking yourself, now what? Then too often you make a mistake almost right away. Have you been there? Because I know I have. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to feel confident in the early middle game so that you can always make great moves that lead to actual tactical chances. Let's go back to the beginning. The position that we reached came from this first move, d4. Black, from here, will now always play the most played move on Lichess at the under 2000 level, and white will play what is, in my opinion, the best moves. Starting with Queen's Gambit, accepted. Knight f3 is to prevent e5. So knight f6, e3 prepares to recapture the pawn while developing the bishop. Takes. This check can be parried in a number of ways. I chose bishop d2. Takes, castles, knight c6. And here we are. So what now? You've controlled the center all that you can. You can't push e4 here because of knight takes d4. All the knights and bishops have been developed, and you've castled. Why don't you pause the video and see what move you can come up with? If you thought rook c1, you've played the best move. You probably noticed that there was no tactic to be found, and that's because our position was not good enough or our opponent's position was not bad enough. So what we need to do is improve our position and continue to. You see, tactics flow from superior positions. So what we need to do every turn is look for tactics, but if we can't find any, it means we need to improve our position and then repeat. But it's not as easy as just saying improve our position. So we'll learn how. How did we come to play rook c1? First of all, here, our prime intention should be concerned with improving our pieces. Again, just saying it doesn't help anyone. What does that mean? Well, we want to give our pieces the most access to as many squares as possible. So some key areas to have in mind are those in the center, of course, in our opponent's half of the board, and particularly around our opponent's king. This is where our attention wants to be. The center in general is always an important area to be focused on. Generally, in the openings, your opponent doesn't allow you the luxury of getting 2 pawns in the center. So as the game goes on, it's a good idea to continue to fight for it with a pawn push at the right time. And then there are a bunch of little things that you pick up along the way, such as generally don't give up bishops for knights without good reason, don't trade without good reason, and so on and so forth. So continuing on, we can see how rook c1 got played. White simply asked themselves, which of my pieces isn't contributing? Which can I improve? And found that the rook, going to the semi-open c-file, that is one with only one pawn on it, it's quite open, improved it. It improved its scope. Okay, so let's say now black plays a6. Again, what now? Well, let's continue to improve our pieces. Feel free to pause the video after every black move to see if you can find a good move. Which piece? I went with rook e1. But improving the queen is fine as well. You might have gone for queen c2 or queen b3. Great. Now, this position's been reached on Lichess about 100 times, and about 70% blunder here with b5. And it's not so obvious, but all we did was improve our position and wait. And now, what do you know, tactics have appeared in our favor. See if you can find it. If you found bishop takes e6, great job. A nice sacrifice to win a pawn. It's a temporary sacrifice. We win the pawn, lose a bishop, but get a knight in return. So we've won a pawn. Now, if you've seen my video on simplification or you just know about it, you don't need much help from here. So let's say they don't make that mistake. Let's say they play bishop d7, defending the knight and preparing b5. So what now? I went with e4. Again, developing the queen is fine as well, but we have the opportunity to take the center. So why not? I mean, they defend their knight, and in doing so, they prepare b5, but they also, as a consequence, stop the queen from attacking the pawn. So e4 is playable. Let's say now b5. Where to put the bishop? I like on d3. Controls the center, but also points towards the enemy king. knight b4. They're attempting to trade off their knight for our bishop. So by following these little principles, we know what to do next and next and next. We avoid that, keeping the scope and avoiding the trade. Now, this position has only been reached twice, but both played rook e8. So let's go with that. Now, another thing to keep in mind is that you don't want enemy pieces in your half of the board. If possible, you want to kick them out ASAP. So a3, knight c6. And now there's really only one piece left to improve. We've got the center. Our pieces are great. It's just our queen. So I am a big fan of the move queen to c2. It's with the same scope as the bishop, just with much more power as the bishop now acts as a battery. So imagine a5. Maybe they want to play b5. Well, we've improved our position to the maximum, and surprise, surprise, a tactic has come up. See if you can spot it by pausing the video. If you found e5, very nice. We open up the queen to h7 while also attacking the knight. Either they let their knight get taken, or they move their knight and they get attacked pretty bad. Forced is king f8 after queen h8. Forced is king e7, queen h4 check, king f8, now knight g5. This is bad for black. Smelling blood in the water and knowing how to attack is a totally different skill, which can be for another video. But one way it could continue is if black doesn't sense the danger. By the way, black's best move here is to give up the queen for the knight. That's how bad the position is. They're losing regardless. But here's an example sequence. Let's say b4. We get more pieces involved, which allows them to win a pawn, not sensing the danger. Knight h7, forced is king g8, and now knight ef6. Brilliant. A nice knight sacrifice to get an attack going. And now, really, queen g5 and queen g7 is pretty unstoppable. Knight f5 only temporarily helps. We'd love to give a checkmate here on g7. This knight's in the way, so let's just trade it off and checkmate. Now, a tactic won't always come up, okay? Often you'll need to improve your pieces even further if your opponent knows what they're doing. But at the under 2000 level, honestly, tactics generally come up between move 15 and 20. So next time you feel lost after completing the opening, I want you to improve the scope of your pieces, especially your bad ones, with focus in the center and your opponent's half of the board, especially their king. Keep your eyes out for tactics. Improving your position makes tactics more likely to come up, but it's your job to spot them. If your position is better, the tactics will all fall into place for you. They're all there, just waiting to be found. I hope that this served as a decent example and inspires you to think about the health of your pieces during your game. So when you finish the opening, think about how you can improve their scope.